We're live.
Hey everyone,
Hey
I'm
everybody.
Jenny.
I'm Paul.
And we are Go Box Art Crate.
Good to see people here on a Friday night.
Friday night, warm Friday night.
It's a little toasty. Well, it's not bad. We just have no vent. Hold on. You talk for a second. I gotta.
You're just gonna turn the fan off, right?
No, I'm gonna clean my glasses.
Oh, okay. Probably.
Well, I mean, I
filthy.
can still talk, but I can't.
Let us know if the fan in the background is too loud. Hi, Faith. Nice. Gonna paint in the wild. That's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's really cool. I've done that before. Not camping, but just staying on vacation and going outside and painting in plein air.
Actually, if we're both quiet for a really second, we can tell if the fan is picking up in the microphone. So, ready? One. Nope.
Okay, it's not. Yeah, if you do hear the noise of the fan in the background and it's bothersome, let us know. We can turn it off. It doesn't do a whole lot for us here, so it's not going to be like you're
It does move the air a little bit.
killing us with the heat. We just don't have AC here. And
No, I need to get one of those big,
Portable.
huge ceiling fans
yeah.
like they have at IKEA.
So let's talk about what we're painting tonight.
Let's do it. Celestial Sea.
So tell us about this painting, Paul. This is
Well-
Paul's design.
Well, it's on the Oregon coast. We have a lot of big rocks like this out in the ocean, and so
Haystack Rock is one that looks
Actually-
a lot like this. It has that little
yeah, there's actually
T-spout
three
thingy.
haystack rocks
Are there three?
in Oregon.
I thought there were two.
There's two big ones, and there's people that, if you grow up in Oregon, you typically spend more time at either the north or the central part of the coast. Southern part of the coast is kind of a little bit more remote, but a lot of people who grew up in the north part of like around Portland and stuff, they're familiar with the Haystack Rock at Cannon Beach. And people that grow up more middle part of the I-5 corridor have
Pacific City.
go down to Pacific City, and they're familiar with the Haystack Rock at Pacific City. So this one's, I mean, I didn't really specifically paint one of those two, although this one does look like the one at Pacific City.
So he really followed the rule of thirds here. Looks like we have
Mm-hmm.
three strips that are blended together with clouds, and then the water kind of just disappearing into the background there.
Yep.
So let's zoom in.
Let's zoom in.
I think you can do that, right?
Yeah, I do that.
Get
Do
a
a
little
little
foot
foot pedal. Wee-hoo.
There you go.
All right. So I actually really like this painting in that it really has, this color is a color we don't use very often. At least not in this way. Now, I guess I'm looking at the printed instructions, and it looks a lot bluer in the printed instructions.
Kind of. They are never going to be 100% spot on. It's
Yeah.
pretty close, though.
Yeah. But this is just kind of a fun, like I think this is a fun color combination that we ended up using this particular month. I love doing this kind of galaxy work, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit because it's
Looks like an octopus.
yeah, it's actually a lot brighter and bolder. So when I paint it, we'll probably get a little bit more carried away with it to your comfort level. What else?
Colors.
Colors. So tonight we're going to lean heavy on our phthalo green, which is something we don't do very often. But when it's on there, I like to use it. But it's an interesting color because I don't like using it straight up too much.
Same.
There is a little bit of it kind of in here, but as a standalone color, it's not it's kind of hard to work with that way. What else? I think it's just time to dive into it.
Let's go.
So let's toast.
Okay.
Jenny and I are having beverages made by Kraken Rum.
Perfect.
Cheers. So that's fitting because you mentioned the octopus, and we are doing a seascape. Oh, that's rum punch. Comes canned. It's so good. Okay. So let's start off. What we're going to start off with. Oh, I didn't talk about all the colors. So we got our phthalo green. We've got bright red. We've got our craft purple or craft violet.
Violet.
Yeah, white and black. Really, these three do a lot of our heavy lifting tonight. And black. We don't use the violet too much, but we will mix it in. So let's go ahead and take our biggest brush. For those following along, we use about a 1 inch to 3/4 to 1 inch wide flat brush. And what I'm going to start off with is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do this kind of like the lazy person way. I'm just going to start off with a band of the phthalo green, kind of about 2 bands of it, maybe about 1.5 to 2 inches apart. And I'm not going to do, not going to fill in this middle. I'm just going to, not going to rinse my brush. I'm just going to grab some white and just start mixing the white in. We actually, one of the upcoming summer paintings has this similar kind of technique of creating a light horizon. Now, when we're doing this, I think you can go ahead and take a little extra phthalo green and just lightly just kind of mix it in, add some texture, whatever. We're just going to start working our way up first. I'm just going to kind of do this tonight in a way that's really pretty lazy. So we're not going to do a lot of mixing on the palette. We're just going to do it on the canvas. I'm going to go right into some plain phthalo green here. I'm going to lay it on pretty thick, and I'm maybe about 3 inches above where we started. I'm going to brush it down in. And from this point, again, I'm not going to rinse my brush, but I am going to get a little bit of red right from the edge of the pool of red, so I'm not dropping green right in the middle. I'm going to brush this right across the top here.
It's funny, on that particular monitor,
Yeah,
your paint looks Kelly green.
it does.
That's so weird.
Yeah. And then once I've brushed this red in right above, I'm just going to wipe my brush off real quick, and I'm going to turn it so it's on edge.
Crazy enough, these two make purple together.
Yeah. I actually could use a little.
It actually makes a really nice purple.
Yeah, it's not overbearingly purple.
It's kind of a muted violet.
Yeah, it's that little bit of the yellow from the green.
So you said we're brushing down?
Yeah, just a little bit. I just kind of want to soften this up.
So we get a gradient?
It's not so much that I'm brushing down, I'm just brushing back and forth across the transition.
Okay.
And I'm going to go ahead and go one more brush of red. Now I'm just going to go straight red to start. I'm going to go ahead and use some phthalo green then into it. And it just turns it instantly into that wonderful.
Jessica says it looks so pretty. It really does.
It's really a fun color. And I tend to, like, with you guys have followed it not long enough to know that I tend to prefer less saturated colors for painting landscapes and stuff. So it is kind of fun once in a while to kind of come in and go a little bit more extreme.
That's right. I had to remind you for our next set of paintings to add more color.
Yeah.
And then you did. You added a lot of colors.
Yeah. So now I'm just taking a little bit of black for the top inch or so.
I think you could get away without putting black on here too if you wanted
could.
it to be like more of a violet sky.
Yeah, and that's why I just did like the top inch.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back and like do some more work in this area to help this transition a bit, but we're gonna do that a little bit later. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna basically repeat the same process working our way down. So rinse your brush off really good. I'm gonna go drop this light down a little bit so it's not, maybe not reflecting quite so directly on the canvas.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad.
As your paint dries, it'll be less glossy.
All right. Let's see if that helped. Did that help at all?
No,
No, it's the same.
Oh well, you tried. A for effort.
A for effort. All right, so now when we work our way down, we're gonna do basically the same thing. Just gonna go ahead and start with my phthalo green. You might need to, if your paint's drying pretty fast right now, you might need to just kind of brush a little bit of white in. And I kind of like to keep my brush kind of a little bit more on edge like this. Let's just do a little bit. And I'm letting my brush work be a little choppier.
Because we're painting the water?
Yeah. Now we can start mixing our red in.
This makes me want to go to the beach, Paul.
I thought you were supposed to book a trip.
No, remember we decided not to because the house we like to stay in goes up from like $300 a night to like $1,000 a night.
Oh, I'm not talking about for 4th of July. I thought you were going to book one for like
October.
October, yeah.
I will. I'm not worried about it selling out.
No. And I'm just going to...
Ah, my ocean is full of blood.
Darn sharks. It's the orcas.
It's the orcas.
The
They're
orcas.
going crazy. Yeah. It is crazy though, the orcas are ramming into people's yachts.
No, they're stealing the rudders off of them.
Yeah. Now, why are they doing that? I heard, now I don't even know how they can know this for sure, that some orca got hurt by a rudder, so they're getting their revenge, which
Something
seems
like that.
Are animals like that?
Orcas could be. Orcas are... They're mean. I mean, they kill great whites.
Yeah, they're pretty vicious.
I saw a video of orcas, and there was a sea lion on a piece of ice, and they worked as a team to create a wave that swept
Knocks it
over
off.
and
Poor
sweeps him
thing.
off. And it's like, poor dude.
And a lot of sea animals have jumped up into people's boats seeking protection because
Trying to
they're
get away from
being
them.
chased down by a
Let's
pod of orcas.
let's not do the black in this bottom part. So let's just keep it with those colors. Frame it and call the Museum of Modern Art.
You've got a Mark Rothko.
You do. Yeah, we're going to work this quite a bit because we got a lot going on. It seems like there's not a lot going on in this painting, but there's a lot of subtle stuff going on in it. So I want to see if we are drying fast here today. Really fast. So I'm going to keep using my biggest brush. I'm going to get it really nice and clean because we're going to use white.
We're going to dedicate this painting to the salt marshes who are on a Bahama cruise right now.
Are they in the Bahamas?
Yes. A weekend Bahama cruise. Isn't that nice?
It must be nice.
I love that.
So I'm just going to take a little bit of pure white now, and on this right-hand side of our sky, I'm going to kind of use this to establish our horizon line. And I'm not being super like, oh, I got to blend this out. I don't want to do that. I'm going to let it be streaky. And we're going to use the technique that we've used before. I'm actually going to zoom in a bit, where we let the brush strokes kind of break up as a way of transitioning. So
I do like that look.
I'm going to start working my way up.
It's very painterly.
Yeah. And I just get choppier and more uneven.
Is this right in the middle? Your band of white?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Well, it's kind of where we started.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just work my way up, let the paint kind of start to run out.
You do a lot of little lifting and tapping.
Lots of little lifting and tapping because you want this to be jagged and broken.
Almost like, are you trying to look like maybe we're suggesting clouds?
We're not, no, we're just breaking it up.
Okay. The sky is shattered.
Yeah, because what we're doing is we're basically, because it's hard to fade, I'm going to zoom back out. Because it's hard to do a really good, perfect fade, sometimes it's easier just to let the colors break up into each other. I'm actually going to mix up a little bit of our Aquafresh color. And add a little bit more green. Because we can actually take this up. See, I just made like about 50-50 phthalo green to white. Maybe a little bit more phthalo green. And it's just a little lighter than our sky. And you can actually take this up into our darker color a bit here. Yeah, just like that.
Very nice. Let me see your color you made. Okay.
You can get a little heavier with the white right in here. We'll pretend the sun's going down there or something. Yeah, so that's a lot of going on. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can kind of see. It's not, there's nothing real fancy. There's no fancy techniques or anything like that. It's actually a little bit messy. But if you've painted with me before, you know that's how I roll.
Messy is the name of the game.
That is how I roll. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing down into our water a bit, although I'm not going to use pure white. I'm just going to use a little bit of our phthalo green and a little bit of white. I want it to be a little lighter. Kind of want to leave a little bit of a clear horizon line there. And most of this is going to be a little bit less broken up and more kind of stretching across the canvas, more horizontal. You don't want to get too stripy with it, but this is ripples in the ocean and things like that. Not ripples, but ridges of water.
Ripples.
Well, see, but if I say ripple, people paint top ramen. Do a
Not
little,
curly ripples.
no,
Soft
not
ripples.
subtle. Do this down a little bit into our darker color here. Be careful that you're not just blending everything out. Like Jenny's got some really aggressive texture and it looks really cool.
Do I?
Yeah, from this angle.
What color are you putting down there?
It's basically just our,
The minty,
yeah.
medium mint?
Now this is still kind of wet down here, so it's kind of picking up.
So it's turning almost kind of grayish.
Yeah.
Kind of a weird greenish gray.
Yep. And if you've got some of that darker color on your brush, you can bring this up now and create some shadows in the ocean as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times it's really good if you paint the dark shadows against the lighter streaks
Yeah.
to help define little water current coming in.
Little things. Little things are amiss.
Didn't you tell me you came up with a Halloween painting you were
I
gonna
did.
do?
I've already got my Halloween painting planned.
Yeah, that's good because we actually, as crazy as it is, we need to paint our Halloween paintings by next month.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing too, as long as it turns out like what I've got going on in my brain. Sometimes that doesn't work out, but I don't want to say it because when I say it, then I feel locked in and sometimes that can make it harder to design. So
Well, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because we shared our paintings for the next 3 months, and 2 of those paintings.
you've changed up a bit.
Well, I guess maybe just one of them I changed, but the third one I hadn't shared yet, but I redid it. Okay, so that's a good foundation for now. I'm going to tilt this a little bit. You can see we'll add some more contrast in this foreground later. Because one of the things I feel like is missing from this original is I feel like this turquoisey kind of color can kind of come down into our foreground a little bit more, and so we'll just do that as we see fit. But let's go ahead and put our rock in. This is not very many instructions for a painting. This painting is actually pretty straightforward in terms of like there's not a lot of steps to it. This part up here, when we get into doing the galaxy, this is going to be a part that maybe some of you are going to struggle with a bit. And I'll just tell you right now, it's going to be like
What part?
the galaxy part. Less is more. And I mean less is more
Buildable.
in terms of the paint that you put on the canvas versus, you know, doing less of it. But I'll show you how we do it. It actually goes pretty easy. Because I'll zoom in for that. So let's go ahead and paint our rock. I'm going to go ahead and use my number 8. And I'm going to put this one a little bit probably higher in the horizon than the original. I've actually been out and around in a fishing boat around the one at Pacific City, and it's
Have
actually
you?
it's
When
like,
did you do that? Oh, when you went out on the dory?
yeah, that's actually like a mile out,
Isn't that crazy?
and it doesn't.
It looks like you would just walk right out to it.
Yeah, but there are people that kayak out to it.
Oh, yeah, that's not
No
too bad.
thanks. We do have great whites in our ocean here.
Every once in a while they come in
Yeah.
towards the...
So I'm going to drop down below my horizon, maybe about a ½ inch. And I'm just going to kind of give myself a couple little points of entry where the water meets the rock. And it really is just kind of like, I always kind of try to paint these instead of drawing them. I kind of like to just take my brush and just use vertical brush strokes to just kind of block them in. I feel like, to me, it just feels like it creates more of a rocky shape.
How do you do that?
I just use,
Oh, yeah. I always wondered how you did that, because I'm like, I can't paint rocks the way Paul does, so what is he doing differently? Well, now I know. I tend to draw first. Although mine right now is kind of ending up looking a little Minecrafty.
yeah, mine is too right now. And I'm ending up with a second rock instead of a, yeah, let's put the little tunnel here. You guys would know the Cannon Beach haystack rock. It's the haystack rock that's featured at the end of Goonies.
That's
And then the guy
right.
goes, a pirate ship.
Well,
It's-
isn't it also the one, remember they hold up that
yeah, it's the one that they hold up
the
the
weird little stone that has
the
the holes
key,
cut out?
yeah. So that was filmed in Cannon Beach and Astoria.
Now explain why it's called Cannon Beach.
Cannon Beach is because a old Spanish cannon washed up on shore there a long time ago.
Yeah, it must have been quite a long time ago.
Yeah. So my rock's a little bit bigger than the original. That's okay. Have fun with it.
Mine definitely looks like a haystack.
And I'm just going to take some black and I'm just going to scribble in a bit of a reflection.
Yours actually reminds me a little bit of the Twin Rocks.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's because it's got that, like, if they were separated. You should do a painting of Twin Rocks, like your original Twin Rock one. I think people would love that.
Yeah. So we'll come back and we'll add some water, some ripples and stuff. Yeah, one of the things you can do with this too is you can actually drag this down further. Like, you don't always have to do the same height reflection
Stretch.
as what the part above the water is. And the reason you would do that, if you wanted to stretch it out more, it gives you the impression that it's further away and you're more on its level. So if you're looking across, like, if you're
Come
really down
equal to
close
this
to the water, the reflection's going to come almost all the way to you, versus if you're up above it, it's going to be shorter.
So it reminds me of that Monet painting I looked up when we did your Monet painting last month.
Uh-huh.
And it's of that famous rock, I think, in France that is
It's one of the most
called
painted
Elephant
things.
Rock or something like
Yeah.
that. Or had something about an elephant trunk.
There you go. And we'll kind of like, we'll touch it up.
Oops.
We'll add some more life to it. It's just a rough in at this point.
I don't know if I did. I accidentally drew a line.
It's all right. We'll fix it. We'll touch it up later.
I got it.
Mine kind of looks like Yoda's hut. And there's this little door.
I actually kind of like it. You totally did not paint anything remotely resembling Haystack Rock, but I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Cause
Make it your own.
yeah, that's what people need to know that they can do is make it their own.
Again, a lot of this that we're painting right now is just kind of foundational stuff. All right, I'm happy with that. We'll put some ripples in and some reflection, some light where there's maybe a little bit of light picking up here and there, and it'll kind of help this make it feel like it's really part of the water. I'm gonna keep using my number 8. And I'm gonna take a little bit of our craft violet. Just plain craft violet. And just right up here where we've got this little transition, just gonna put a little streak in. I'm gonna wipe my brush off. And I'm just gonna kind of soften it up. It's not really a cloud, it's nothing other than it's just kind of a little transition. I'm gonna do a little bit of this down.
That's a fun color to put in there.
Yeah, it kind of makes it for interesting. It feels like, I don't know, it makes it to me, it makes it feel like the cosmos is kind of hanging low over the sky. You know?
Also kind of Halloween-like. The colors, the purple and green.
Yeah.
There we mentioned Halloween twice.
Must be thinking about it. And you can do this just a little bit down into your sky too. It just kind of, I think it makes the sky a little bit more interesting.
And it kind of softens things up. I actually like that little color pop because it doesn't feel uncomfortable and it looks really nice.
Here's the bottom line on this painting. There is nothing about this painting that is realistic as far as colors. Like you never see.
We're on a different planet.
Yeah, so this is what I would consider a fantasy painting. So it's totally fine to have colors that we don't necessarily identify as being sky colors hanging out. Next thing we're gonna do, so that's just kind of a little transition. We're gonna take a little bit of our bright red. I'm gonna add a touch of white to it, just a touch.
Where's Daniel tonight?
He was going to be late if he was going to make it at all. He had to work. So I'm just making just a little bit of this brighter red. And this is where, like, when you guys first start doing this, you might feel a little uncomfortable because it's going to feel
White?
really bold. Little tiny bit of white with bright red.
Raspberry smoothie?
Yeah. Because what I want to do is we're going to take this color, and I'm going to start right about here. And I'm going to put a couple nice big tendrils like that.
Octopus.
And I'm going to take my brush and wipe it off.
Are you kind of curling your brush into the loop-de-loos?
No, not necessarily. I just kind of pushed it around.
Are you using the corner of it?
No, I just used the whole thing and just pushed. But now I've got a clean brush and I'm just kind of feathering the edges out. I'm going to take a little bit of this color and kind of slide it in along the top of this lavender we put in. Just in some spots. And add a little bit more white. Now keep in mind, this top part's really dark, almost black. If you can always paint back over it really easy. So don't feel like, oh, you got to get it right now. Okay, Jenny, watch. Here's my technique. I actually hold the brush like this instead of like a pencil. And I just kind of push the brush.
Cattywampus, swirly, curly, all different directions.
Yep.
Actually, holding your brush back like that, you guys, helps a ton. I forget to do that a lot, which is why a lot of times my paintings I always feel are like overly neat.
Like overly controlled?
Yeah, that's a better term, overly controlled, which I hate. I don't want him to be like that.
Yes.
Sometimes, I mean, there's occasional paintings that look good that way if I'm doing something very illustrative. But most of the time I'm wanting to do something that looks a little more like painted.
And then I just kind of, again, just let me zoom in. I told everybody I was going to zoom in for this part.
Rude.
Rude. So again, I hold the brush like this instead of like a pencil. And just let it move. And I'll wipe my brush off and kind of soften the edges. You can take a little bit of our...
Quite the epic sky.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of work,
Ooh, I like
though.
that purple on there.
Yeah, throw a little bit of the purple in along some of
No,
these
it's
edges.
actually very easy to do.
I think the thing where people struggle with this is when they try too hard to be precise.
Yeah,
You can't be precise with
hold
this.
your brush way far back, like you're
Again, this is where I'm holding the brush.
holding a sparkler and you're afraid it's gonna burn you.
That's actually an excellent example. Let me zoom back out a little bit.
And it's like right for the time, right?
Yeah, we've seen some of the. I think some of the tents were actually open today. We have really bad, like we don't get very exciting fireworks in Oregon. Never have. So.
Honestly, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a little bit of just very close to white pink, like baby doll pink. And you can add just a little bit. Kind of looks like I got an epic pig nose
Oh
coming
my
in
gosh, now we can't unsee it. You broke the rule.
here. Now I can't unsee it.
You broke the rule. You went from octopus to pig nose, but mine's like a bull nose.
Let me show you guys a really cool technique, and I forgot about this and I just remembered it. If you have a little bit of fresh white like I just had.
Oh, you got a blurry auto focus thing going on. There we go.
Okay. If you take a little bit of just like white and put it in an area, and then just take a little bit of red and mix that red in on the canvas, you get this super intense pink that it feels like you can never actually mix on the palette and transfer to the canvas. Right now this is starting to just look like epic clouds, but that's okay. When we do the stars, it'll make more sense. There we've got our galactic portal.
The wormhole has opened up.
The wormhole. And I'm going to go ahead, let's reflect this color down into our water.
I like the galactic portal. Like if you saw the sky look like this, you might be concerned.
We're on another planet right now.
I think so. Both mesmerized and concerned.
Now, if you're down at the Oregon coast, California coast, Florida coast, Carolinas, New York, New Jersey, Washington, anywhere, and the sky looks like this, run. Either that or hang out and see what's going on because it might be your last chance.
We did a live class recently, and I don't know, for some reason we got talking about like the green flash that you.
That wasn't the class. That was when we were. Where were? Oh, it was a
Yeah.
live class. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's what I
Yeah.
And we were talking about the coast because they were saying they got back from Hawaii not that long ago, and we were talking about the rare green flash that you can sometimes see at sunset. And this guy actually had a video of.
Yeah, it was like the live photo where it takes like 3 seconds before
yeah.
and after.
That's so cool.
And he actually had taken a picture of the sunset and captured that in his stream. So let's talk about our stars. I'm going to show you guys a couple of cool techniques I have used in other cosmos type paintings. I'm going to use my smallest brush. And one of the things I like to do is add some little glow where there's going to be a cluster of stars. And the way I do that is I just take my smallest brush with a little bit of white on the non-bristle end. Maybe I should zoom in for this. Oops, wrong way. All right, so I want to put a little bit like right here. So I'm just going to put a dot right there. And then I'm just going to use my index finger kind of smudge it out a bit. I got a little aggressive with that, but that's all right.
So remember the character in The Simpsons that's like in prison and he has the wild hair?
Yeah, Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, that's what my sky looks like his hair.
It totally does. All right. Now, for the rest of our stars, let's talk about a couple we've got a couple different kinds of stars that I've done in this. I do have like one kind of sparkly, glowy, kind of like Christmas star. And then I've done this similar type of smudges, but with just a dot. And in this one, I've actually got like 3 stars in a cluster. And I'll show you how we do that. Let's start off with, let's do our fun Christmas star. I'm just going to put it right over here. Let's start with a dot. Then I'm going to make sure my brush has been rinsed and then dried. Make sure it's kind of pulled to a point. And zip. While that's still wet, I'm just going to put my brush right in the middle. Give it a quick little pull up, quick little pull down, quick little pull left, I guess that's right, quick little pull left. I did it much bigger than the original, that's okay, won't hurt anything. Oh, I forgot to do the glow behind it.
Guess you're gonna have to do another one.
No, I'm just gonna leave it like that. It's in the lighter part of the sky, so I'm not gonna worry about the glow so much. There's that. Maybe we'll throw it in the water. I don't know, that kind of looks hokey, so I'm not gonna worry about it. But then for the others, what we wanna do, and this is what we should have done with this one too, but start with a dot, smudge it out, and then just go right back into the middle of it. And this is going to be my triple. 3 stars.
Larry, Curly, and Mo.
Dot. I wouldn't get too carried away with these. Now, if you were going to want to do like the Christmas star, do that, put a fresh dot in the middle. I wouldn't do more than maybe 4 or 5 of these.
They can kind of take over.
They can take over in a hurry. So that's about all I want to do for these. But then for other stars, we're just going to, you can do a couple down in the lower part of your sky. I like to make sure to do like little clusters here and there. And then when we get in these light areas that we
pull your original in front of the camera real quick. Let me see. Yeah, you put lots of stars in your gas cloud too.
Yeah, so that's actually what I was just going to say. These light areas that we put into the gas cloud, this is a good area to kind of cluster a bunch of stars, because stars exist. So it's not like the gas clouds like exist and there's no stars you can see through them. You can still see them. Just have fun with it. No part of the sky part is off limits. The other thing that you can do, which I did in the original and I like to do in this, is up in the dark part of the sky, you can actually add a few purple stars. You don't want to do a lot.
Crazy.
You don't need to do a lot, just a few. You could even do pink stars. Just a couple. You could do light green ones too. You could do, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to start doing like light green ones or purple ones and then all of a sudden put a purple star down in the real light part of your sky, because then all of a sudden it's like, where did that come from? What is it? Doesn't quite make sense. So I'm gonna do a few more white ones in these glass cows. Glass cows. Gas clouds.
You're having a little trouble.
What the heck? I haven't even drinking half of, well, I guess I have drinking half of my drink.
It's only 5%, you're fine.
I'm good. Good. And I didn't add reflections of the stars in the water, but you can. And you can do like what we did last week, where you rinse off your biggest brush and clean it. Nice and clean. So fresh and so clean. And you can put some fresh stars in some spots. And then take your fresh, clean, big brush and just drag these down. Do not like how that looks right there.
Yeah, you have to like make sure you pull directly down. Sometimes you can end up with them going like different weird directions.
Yeah. Oh, can you wiggle the mouse? There it is. Now, while I'm using the big brush and white, you caught up there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to take the big brush and a little bit of white now, and out at the very top of our horizon here, I'm going to very lightly add some Barely touching the brush to the canvas. I'm just adding some ripple, some shimmer. You want this to be fairly small and tight further out. You can get a little bit bigger and bolder as you come down. You can do a little bit over here if you want to as well. Now I want to bring some of this turquoise down too into our darker water. So I'm just going to mix together about 50-50 phthalo green to white. Maybe a little bit more phthalo green because I don't want it to be too light. And I like using the big brush for this because I like how you can get fairly thin lines with it, but it holds a lot of paint, so you can really get this movement.
What color are you using right here?
It's just phthalo green with a little bit of white.
Oh, with white, okay.
Yeah. You can let this kind of lap into your reflection just a little bit. You can do a little bit of lavender in here too if you want to. We're going crazy up in here. Say you're from the 90s without saying you're from the 90s. Say up in here.
Really?
I don't know.
I think you don't know.
I don't. So I want to also, like, down in this foreground, we're actually getting really close to done.
We're only less than an hour in. You better expand it out, dude.
I don't know what to do. We'll put a pirate ship in, I guess, maybe. No, we still got a lot. We got work to do down in here. There's actually not much, though, because actually, like, if I put my original compared to the new one, well, the new one's a lot bolder. Bold flavor. It's a more intense painting. And that's okay. I'm good with that. Let's add a little ripple of a wave rolling in. How about that? Should we do that?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Wait.
Yes.
What kind of wave?
Just a small one.
Not a curl?
Not a curl.
Okay, thanks.
No curls.
Curls
are stressful. All right, so I've got my light. I've kind of got a little shape going here. I'm going to take my number 8 and some white. And I'm just going to kind of scribble that in. And I'm going to wipe my brush off. And let me zoom in a little bit. I'm going to take the brush that's been wiped off, and I am just going to streak out the top edge, smudge it.
So you're smudging back into the water behind it, kind of?
Yep.
This is the foam.
Yeah.
Ooh, mine dried. A lot of it dried.
Yeah, it's drying fast tonight.
I think you can also refresh the
Yeah, you can refresh the
front
white
edge.
Yeah. And let's do one more little ripple right at this bottom corner. It just kind of comes a little ways across. Same thing. Just like so. Now, I want to kind of give a little bit more definition here. So I'm going to mix together phthalo green and red just to make a real dark violet here. And I'm going to brush this in right along our bottom edge of our white. And this color, we can now kind of brush into that faded out part here.
So this helps make the wave look a little more 3D.
Yeah. Do the same thing under this bottom one.
My star reflections.
Yeah. If you had problems with your star reflections, this is a
Now's the
good
time
fix.
to cover them up.
I'm gonna take a little bit of this color and just kind of throw some of this into, if you got too carried away with some of your fade out.
Maybe we can trade these to one of the beach house owner people and be like, hey, we can decorate your house.
3-night stay.
Let us stay there. We'll give you 10 paintings. When we leave, we'll just hang them up and where we think they should go.
We have done that before.
Well, it was kind of, they didn't expect it. It was like a gift.
No, but we've done a painting from their beach house and just left it.
Mm-hmm. As a surprise.
Yeah. I'm gonna switch brushes. I'm gonna go back to my smallest brush. Here it is. I'm gonna mix together white. I'm gonna take a little drop of water. White with just a tiny little bit of our phthalo green. We want a really pale, pale, pale turquoise. And I want to create some surface around the bottom edge of this rock. It needs a little bit more white. So something that I do when I'm painting something like this is I will take a little bit of color and just test a little spot and see, okay, does it need to be darker? Does it need to be lighter? A lot of times people will just mix the color and just roll with it. But you should always be willing to like mix it and see if it needs to be adjusted and then adjust as needed. Where I've seen that happen is really, and a lot of times it's lake reflections and people mix a highlight color and it's blue, but it's not pale enough.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, instead of having this nice pale sheen, it's like all of a sudden you've got like this denim blue cutting across and it doesn't make sense. So always be willing to test a little spot and then adjust as needed. So I like to do, whenever I've got a little rock where, like this, where there's water, like a tunnel coming through, I like to do a little extra white, kind of going up into it a little bit so it looks like water's kind of rushing through here. Little interaction with where the rock meets the water, extend it out to the side just a little bit. Feel free to add some ripples across. We're going crazy. But you know what Seal says? We're never going to survive unless we get a little crazy. Oh no, never survive. I maybe got a little crazy. I maybe got a little carried away.
No, I don't think so.
Well, it's an easy fix if I did.
It's actually kind of subtle. Your little ripples around the rock there.
Oh, it's the ripples in front of it that I was concerned about, down in here.
Oh. Yeah, what were you thinking, Paul?
Clearly I was not.
Clearly that's horrible.
What I do want to do is I do want to add a little bit of the sky color down a little lower so it helps define the top edge of the reflection of the rock. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to bring a little bit of this light through here. We had somebody email, we have a kids painting that's a cosmic unicorn. Since we're doing kind of a cosmic kind of scene, somebody emailed us this week. They had done it and they had painted over a lot of it with glow-in-the-dark paint.
Didn't they do it for like their daughter's room or something?
Yeah, I think so. And they sent it to us, and it was a fun.
It was really cool in the dark.
Yeah, they sent a picture of it glowing in the dark, and that was cool to see. Starting to sound like Bob Ross. I love it when all my followers send me paintings that I inspired.
Does he say that?
Send them to the
probably does.
mailbag.
Or I should say, did he say that?
He did. And sometimes he would show them. See all the hard work that they put in.
So people would actually send him their actual paintings?
No, just pictures.
Oh, okay.
Whoa, that was the chair.
It was, I can vouch for it. Shockingly, it was the chair.
I don't know. Now we can take our smallest brush and a little bit of white now. And kind of just redefine this bottom edge here. If you're really daring, you could put a little starfish in the shore here.
I really don't love the consistency of this purple paint. The violet.
No, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
I feel spoiled after using the new paint for the last couple of paintings.
Yeah, right.
Again, for those of you who are subscribers and get our monthly supply kit, we are changing the paint next month, so there will be a little learning curve. The only real difference is the paint has a lot more pigment in it, so it actually covers better, and it's thicker, and which is good because then you can make it thinner. Just add a little bit of water. You can never make paint thicker.
Oh, yes, you can. You can add gel to it, like acrylic paste.
Yeah.
It's just not as...
I'm not a big fan of adding those weird mediums like that. I know some people like it. It's just not me.
It's doesn't work out the way you think it will.
Yeah.
It doesn't turn it to feel like oil paint. Definitely not.
One thing you can do too that's kind of fun is you can mix up a real light turquoise using the phthalo green, a little white, and use your smallest brush very carefully, and you can kind of do like a little web of foam. Zoom in. This is optional. We're going off the rails tonight just because we're really knocked this one out pretty quick.
I'm really going off the rails.
So I'm just taking this color and I'm just kind of doing it, and it can kind of feather up into the darker color a bit. And it's just adding all this little foamy texture in the foreground. We never really do this in paintings very often just because it's kind of a hard thing to teach in person. Maybe add a little lavender to it too, I don't know. Just so much you can do, and it's just, I think the hardest thing is getting used to like what does look right and what doesn't look right, how to do it, how much to do. And realistically, like we've talked about this maybe a little bit, like always treat every painting like I'm learning here. Mm-hmm. Like even if you're, like to me, even if I'm doing like a commission piece, I'm thinking like, what am I learning from this painting? What am I learning? What technique am I learning? What am I learning about the, you know, the composition or the color use? Like, never quit learning, ever, 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 ever.
I've had occasional moments where I'm like, I've learned that this is garbage, and painted black over the whole thing.
We had people do that in the studio before.
I just did it last week, actually. I was working on a bee painting, and I just could not get it the way I wanted it to be, and I didn't want anyone to ever see that it existed, so I wiped it out completely.
Wow. Did you stomp your foot at the same time?
Mentally. Mentally, I did.
Little, like, primal roar. Rawr!
Well, it was the third time I'd attempted, and I was just getting mad because I knew what I wanted, and I just couldn't achieve it, and the reason being that the acrylic paint was drying too fast. Because it needed to be a more blended.
Gotcha.
Blended into the background sort of look. And I was looking at a bunch of pictures of paintings that were done in that style, and I just couldn't get it, and I know it was just because I was using acrylic paint.
You know what I've done in the past that's always kind of fun on this type of painting is like put the sun right behind the rock so the light's shining through the gap. We're not going to do that tonight, but I've done that before. It's kind of fun.
I've got one spot on here, and I'm ready to go hold it in front of the fan. This spot will not dry.
Huh. I'm just going to take
I'm waving it back and forth.
A little bit more white and just kind of.
So when I try to get another coat, it's just, ha-ha. Oh, no, you won't. Not another coat for you.
Pop that a little bit more. All right, all right, all right.
You suddenly went Matthew McConaughey.
I don't know why. So this dark color I'm just kind of adding in here is just a little bit of our phthalo green and red just to. We're milking this one.
That's okay. Don't finish it yet. I'm still working on some aspects of mine that I added. You cannot finish yet.
I'm not done yet.
No. Just trying to determine the next part. Now we'll do it. I went a little fantasy-esque.
water is one of those things that you can really play around with a lot. And I think more often than not, people are a little bit too choppy with it. Instead of just kind of let it flow. I always try to think of like, whatever it is I'm painting, what is the movement that it's doing? Add glow in the, oh yeah, this painting would be fun to add glow in the dark too.
Yeah, I think that's because we just missed that message earlier. It's because you were talking about the
I knew I knew that.
unicorn painting. Which, yeah, I think that's super fun. I'm trying to remember if I've ever worked with glow in the dark paint. Are we adding highlights on the rock at all?
Yeah, we can.
Ooh, what'd you do down there? You did that lacy little thing?
Yeah.
I missed that, so what did you do?
I just used a real pale turquoise. And
You should zoom in.
So this is the hard thing about this, is you can't really control it. I'll do a little bit right in this corner here. It's just kind of...
It's just kind of the way the foam stretches sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, I just realized I was painting way over on the other side.
Do they have a compressor on next door?
Maybe.
Sure sounds like it.
It might. I mean, I feel like we upped this painting tonight.
For sure.
I don't know, like... I mean, it's probably a welcome break, honestly. This is a very, like, technique absent painting. Like, it's pretty simple and straightforward. There are techniques, but they're just subtle and...
I'm always mesmerized by people like Wyland who can paint the oceanscapes that are so, like, they're
realistic.
like fantasy, but also realistic. Like, the way he does his waves is crazy.
Most of his are underwater.
He has a lot of them where he's got the turquoise wave curling.
Oh, yeah. I think so much of that's having the right color. Give a little bit more in there.
Yeah, I think his are acrylic too, are they?
Yep.
Yeah. I thought. Does he still have a painting show?
I don't know. He was sponsored by Jerry's Artorama.
Really?
Yeah. Well, there's not much more. Oh, we're going to do some highlights on the rock. So,
Yeah.
I would like to use the smallest brush.
Okay.
And I'm just going to use a little bit of our craft violet here. And I like to kind of use the width of the brush. And just kind of add some choppiness. Don't want to do too much. zoom in. That actually looks. Ooh, I know. Yeah, add just a little bit of pink to it. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there.
What's that?
Just a little bit of pink I just added to the highlights on the rock.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Very nice. Very nice.
You know what we should do? Let's plan on doing a on the spot live stream painting.
What?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Explain.
So we'll schedule a live stream and then we'll have a canvas, we will have paint colors on the palette, and then we'll have the people who are participating in the live stream tell us what we should paint.
Oh, I like that, yeah.
And
what should we add here?
yeah, or like, what's our main subject? And my only requirement is it would need to be a landscape, but then, at least for me to do it. But then,
Are you incapable of anything else?
well, not, yeah, on the fly I can do landscapes, but doing others, yeah, we call it on the fly. We've done it before. Remember I did that for that Nike event. Just kind of created a painting on the fly. I'm just gonna sign it. But then have like kind of everybody throw out ideas, and then we'll pick one and just go from there and just have fun and just kind of like let our viewers be part of the creative process.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I'm gonna move my palette out of the way. I'm done. I just signed mine.
I'm like 90 seconds are done.
Okay, but I'm gonna put my original next to it.
Ooh, you upped the ante big time.
There's so much more. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of things that I love about the original still, in that it's softer and more subtle.
If I'm going to be honest, I looked at your original, I thought, I love this painting, but it could have some extra stuff. I was surprised you did something so simple. But also, like, I think it's good to do some very simple paintings when we're...
Yeah. So we definitely upped the ante today.
I'm almost...
But I like, there's some things about the original one that I like the subtlety of it, but sometimes I think the subtlety, like this area up in here, that's the galaxy, is so subtle it kind of gets lost in the mix. Whereas the new one, I went bigger and bolder up in here, and you're like, okay.
Big, bold flavor.
Big, bold gas clouds. And he's like, I know what those are about. Whenever Paul comes to bed, you get inundated with big, bold gas clouds. Sorry.
Oh my god.
How strong is the rum in that? Yeah.
Not strong. No. Okay, let me sign mine.
Yeah, and we'll get Jenny's in here.
So I have been playing Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And I decided mine is Hyrule, which is the Kingdom of Hyrule, and I painted a shrine right there.
There it is.
And I even reflected it on the water.
I actually like that you added that little bit of land over there. I think that looks nice.
Yeah, kind of closes off the painting.
So I will tell you guys this: we have all three of our paintings done for July, August, September.
I totally forgot and left mine at home.
Yep.
But you can show yours if you want. I know you probably want to.
Yeah, I can do that.
So we have 6 paintings coming up, and they're spread out over 3 months. So it's the same as what we've been doing. It's just rather than us frantically shipping 1 box every month, we are shipping 3 months supplies. And when we do a live stream twice a month, like usual, you will go grab the stuff out of your kit and you're getting much better paint. You'll see that right away, like better colors. Thank you, Marlene. Nice to see you on here.
All right, so this is going to be my July painting.
And what is that called?
This is called Vanishing Horizons.
Vanishing Horizons.
So you guys may have seen a picture similar to this. We've made a couple little adjustments. They're definitely doing these first 3 paintings because we are changing paint. There was a little bit of a learning curve because we've been using that same kind of thinner paint for like 10 years, 12 years. So getting used to it, you guys are going to love it. This effect in here is something that was really difficult to do with the old paint.
Yeah, because now we got thickness and opacity. It'll be easy.
Same thing with these.
Hardest part, probably the top edge of those clouds?
No, I think it's easier with the thick paint.
Okay.
The thick paint makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, because of the slower drying time, you probably get the nice fuzzy
It's the
stuff.
texture. It's the texture. It pushes around easier, whereas the thinner paint just wants to flow out. These rays are a lot easier to do with the thicker paint, and we can thin it out. Anyway, so that's Vanishing Horizons.
Nice.
Then this one's called Reflecting on Summer.
Oh, you came up with fancy names.
Yeah, and so this one is all kind of like it actually is kind of similar to some of the stuff we just did in the water, but this one really,
I like all the colors.
the focus is going to be on this area down in here. I actually painted this one twice because I did it the first time and I felt like it was this part I had made too complicated and too busy. And actually I still feel like this is maybe a little too busy. Like there's going to be a point,
You said that to me and I said no.
Hear me out.
Like
There's going to be a point when we're 3/4 of the way done with this painting where I'm going to give people the option to call it done.
Okay.
So,
fair enough.
And then the last one is called...
I already know I'm going to put stars on mine.
This is called Towering Falls.
It looks a lot like Multnomah Falls.
It does. And
just the upper part. Because Multnomah Falls has a lower fall down.
yeah.
That's a lot wider. Like, I don't know how many times wider. And then the really tall. I like the pink clouds. And then, like, when we got here and I looked at it in person, I said, you have followed the rule of thirds again.
Yeah. I didn't do that so much in the other. Well, yeah, I guess I did. And this one not so much, but
I think
the
we
first
just
one.
naturally do it after you've painted a long time.
It's kind of funny because when I was writing up the instructions, I was looking at this finished painting. I was like, something's not right. And so I added this tree right here. So when you get the instructions, that tree is not going to be in the instructions.
Yeah.
I just
We'll
decided.
add it on the video.
Yeah. I
really like the little spillway that you've got going on there.
Right,
Little
through here.
river.
Yeah. So that's
Wait, what's that one called? Towering Falls?
Towering Falls. Yeah. So that's this one actually. So when we talked about, I'm working on some fundamentals. This one's really about using depth to create perspective.
Depth and the making the paint lighter, vanishing. Like what am I?
Vanishing.
Yeah, but
Less saturated.
yeah, way towards the back, which
Yeah.
is such an important thing to give it real perspective and make it look like if you look out at a landscape with hills in particular, mountains, you'll notice the hills that are furthest away are the lightest, and they just graduate to being darkest as they're near you. And those kinds of things you don't think about until you're painting. Like, this doesn't look right.
Yeah.
It's because those hills back there shouldn't be as dark as the foreground hills.
Yeah, and the other thing is the further away typically should be cooler in tone. Warm tones kind of don't pop as much. Then this one we're working on the reflections aspect, so this part reflecting down and then the light reflecting in the water. I want to do like a couple of paintings coming up where it's just a lot of like more focused water, and then also one that's very focused clouds.
Mm-hmm. Now, those of you on our Facebook group page, you will have seen my koi. That one I haven't changed at all. It's coming up, and then it'll be in this group. And then what was the other one I did that I posted? I can't think. Oh, it was called Golden Field. And that originally I wanted it to be kind of a Tuscan painting, but I ended up liking it as just a field with flowers and some purple mountains in the background. And then the third one, which I haven't shown yet, is the bee. I ended up going back with my first one, liking it the best, and
Well, let's bring it back.
bring it around.
Hello.
Yeah, so I guess the next time we're on video will be, I have it in my calendar. We have a couple of, let me look here. We've got a couple of scheduling conflicts. So I think your painting is going to end up being like on a Monday.
Okay.
Because we've got the Addams Family show.
That's right.
And Paul and I are doing the set painting for that. And the show is the last 2 weeks of July. And
Well, yeah, you're doing the
I'm
hair and makeup.
doing the hair and makeup, which takes place on Friday. So we can't
Yeah.
do our thing on a Friday, but then like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're doing dress rehearsals, so I can't be here either for that. So we're gonna think like a Monday is gonna work.
Yeah.
Monday for yours, Friday for mine.
Yeah,
I think the koi is the very
unless
first
you want to
meeting.
take the night off, I could see if Daniel could come in and sit in or something.
Yeah, there's always that.
I'll check.
Definitely do that. So anyway, we will see you guys. I think the first my koi is like July 14th.
Yep.
Looking at my calendar, and you guys will have all your new stuff, and we'll be ready to go and ready to teach you with the new paint. And
Sorry about the
you love
yawn.
it.
Sorry about the yawn.
All right, let's sign off. You guys enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Thanks for hanging out with us, and feel free to reach out to us on our website if you have any questions about the videos going forward, because obviously that we have talked about how that's changing, and they're going to not be available for everyone now, just because, well, we've made a lot of changes, and it's just something we decided.
It would be really cool if we had like some kind of special effect where we could sign off by doing our signatures.
Okay, there you go. There's the future.
So,
All right, thank you guys again for joining in. Hope you have a great and wonderful weekend, a couple weeks, wonderful 4th of July, and we will see you next time.
Yep, if you have any questions about anything, hit us up on our Facebook group.
Yeah,
It's the
Facebook group
best.
page
Or,
or the
on our
website
website.
chat.
Yep.
It'll be either Paul or I answering.
That's it. We're the only two.
All right, bye.
Bye, everybody. End it.